Hello, all my fellow froggies. You are in Cassie's Corner, and I'm Cassie. Thanks for joining me. I haven't recorded in a couple of days. Actually, I have recorded, but my computer is being such a pain that it has not taken the record. But anyway, other than that, I've been really, really sick and out of it, and I just didn't feel like I needed to come here and try to preach about being positive and defeating a depressive attitude or an anxious attitude if I am sick. So I just didn't feel like it was good. I will make up the days that I have missed. I have them marked so that way I can make them up to you and you'll be able to get that information if that is what you wish. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to let YouTube know that when I drop a new video. Leave me a comment, so those help YouTube to recommend my videos out of the popularity contest that it had. Of course, everything has rules, so that's their rule, that if I am reaching viewer interaction, that kind of thing, that they'll recommend my videos a little bit more and that kind of thing. So, with that being said, through the book, The Daily Stoic, I am trying to help people reach a more positive mental mindset so that they don't stay depressed. I don't like I have suffered depression. I did for many years, to the point where I wouldn't get up and I wouldn't get out and fix myself up or try to do anything with myself. I just felt like I was very invisible and did not feel appreciated, did not feel wanted in my state of mind, that kind of thing. So I was really deep, dark, in a very deep, dark, depressive state. So I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. Nothing matters. I don't matter. I'm invisible. What I say doesn't matter. Nobody pays attention to me. Nobody looks at me. Nobody sees me. So I'm just gonna, go and be depressed on my own. I'm sure that there's other underlying things that you think. Maybe your situation is one of a kind. Maybe your situation is has triggered, your depression and that sort of thing. But if we choose in our mind, to think about the things that we can control, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, the things we can control, you will end up being a happier person instead of thinking of all the things that you can't control. You can't control somebody else's behavior. You can't control someone else's thoughts. You can't control what someone else says. And that is a very, very hard lesson to learn. And through the book, The Daily Stoic, we have learned that it is important that we realize what we can and cannot control. And that if we think in that way, we have more peace for ourselves and we have more peace with the people that we see as adversaries. Not so much enemies. We don't want to make enemies, and we don't want a vengeful behavior by way of stoicism. And I believe that is more of the way that Jesus, when he walked the earth, that was his behavior. Let's not have any enemies in our midst, but kind of do things tastefully and peacefully in that way. So this month, which I told you was coming, I told you last week that we had 6 or 7 days until February 1st, and here it is, February the 1st. So on February the 1st, the 32nd day of the year, for the hot-headed man, we are actually in the month of passions and emotions. Remember, I warned you about that. We had just left clarity. So now we're going to have to deal with our passions and emotions and see how we can dominate, I say the word dominate, but more control that aspect of our minds. So for the hot-headed man, keep this thought handy when you feel a fit of rage coming on. It isn't manly to be enraged. Rather, gentleness and civility, more human and therefore manlier. A real man doesn't give way to anger and discontent, and such a person has strength, courage, and endurance. Unlike the angry and complaining, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to his strength. And Marcus Aurelius said that in his Meditations. Why do athletes talk trash to each other? Why do they deliberately say offensive, nasty things to their competitors when the refs aren't looking? to provoke a reaction. Distracting and angering opponents is an easy way to knock them off their game. Try to remember when you find yourself getting mad, anger is not impressive or tough. It's a mistake. It's weakness. Depending on what you were doing, it might even be a trap that someone laid for you. Fans and opponents called boxer Joe Louis the ring robot because he was utterly unemotional. His cold, calm demeanor was far more terrifying than any crazed look or emotional outburst would have been. Strength is the ability to maintain a hold on oneself, is being the person who never gets mad, who cannot be rattled because they are in control of their passions rather than controlled by their passions. Think about that. Think about an athlete. I think of wrestling. I think of wrestling more than anything. They get up there, and I used to love wrestling. I was 15, 16 years old. The Albany, where I'm from, South Georgia, we had finally gotten an Omni, like a place where concerts happen and that kind of thing. And wrestling had been the first venue that would come there. So we would go there, and I loved to go to the wrestling matches. But if you think about the wrestlers, it's like their theatric anger outbursts are what gets us all riled up in the wrestling world. And it's a lot of fun to listen to them rant and to see how angry they can get. But if you're serious about your opponents and your business, you don't have to work on all the anger. Why have you got to be mad about your opponent? There's one team against another, and you want your team to win. But why get angry? Why be mad? And why trash talk? If you're serious about your opponent. And I agree with this boxer that, he didn't have to rely on his trash talk to rile people up. He knew that was his opponent. He wasn't going to sit there and trash talk them or try to rile them up or anything. He knew what his job was, and that was to defeat the opponent. Don't get mad about it. You just know you have an opponent. And I feel like that's what we should do as human beings. Why should I trash talk what I feel would be an adversary? I don't want enemies. I just don't want enemies. I have enough problems with people that are not supposed to be my enemies, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to sit here and trash talk somebody else. I would hope to build them up, even though they may not want to build me up, or they see something wrong with me in a way. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody else. It's not very becoming to necessarily trash talk somebody. I want to build everybody up. I want to see everybody happy. I'm happy when everybody else is happy. And I think that's how we should be. I think that's how Jesus was. When everybody else was happy, he would probably teach them. And I speak in a way of walking with Christ, because I feel that is what we should do. We should walk in the way that he walked when he walked the earth. But he didn't trash talk people, and he didn't tell people, oh, you're stupid, or you're an idiot, or whatever. He taught them what he felt like he needed to teach them. And if they didn't listen, maybe he got a little stern with them, but I don't see him screaming at them and telling them that they're an idiot, or they're stupid, or they're ugly, or, the bullying ways that everybody has come to expect people to talk about. I watch a lot of sports via my husband, and I do see a lot of sports people, the athletes, they come on and they do their little interviews, and they talk about, their defensive was good, and that this was good, and this was good. And they're not trash talking their opponents. They're being very gracious sportsmen about their game, and I appreciate that. Every time I hear somebody say, my opponent's team was strong in this and was strong in this, but they're not, crucifying them in any way. I adore that. I feel like that's how we all should be. They, this person has a strong personality, or that person, my opponent has a strong defense or a strong offense, and we just happen to overwin them. And I think that's very gracious. I think that's how we should be with all kinds of people, especially in a depressed mood. We need to analyze um, people's strengths and weaknesses, especially our own. Um, okay, I was weak in this area, and this person was a little bit stronger, but next time, instead of having an opponent, a kind of a vengeful, enemy like behavior, I'm going to win them over. I'll be stronger in this area. I'll try to uh, behave in this way, and I'll try to, analyze what you can control by way of having an adversary or an opponent and not so much an enemy. If that makes any sense. You shouldn't always think of somebody as an enemy. We should all just be different people. We should all just be not even an adversary, but not even an opponent, I guess. It's another person. You don't have to be jealous. You don't have to be in competition with somebody. You don't have to. It's not necessary to be in competition with somebody else. It is not necessary to give someone a reaction. It is not necessary to give someone an answer. So, how's everybody doing? Has everybody fared well from this nasty cold blast that we have? I'm not appreciating it. I'm not a cold person, but I know a lot of people do like snow and they would love to see snow. My grandson is one of those kinds, and he had snow yesterday, I think. I haven't heard from him today, so I don't know if he's gotten more snow. It's supposed to, I think, kind of be like seasonal after this, a little bit warmer, on the warmer side. We'll see. We can't control the weather now, can we? All we can do is enjoy it while it's here. I'm not sure I'm enjoying the cold weather, though. I don't like the cold. I don't want it really, really hot either. I'm not one of those 90-degree people where the snakes are out and the bugs are. Give me a good 70, 75-degree day where it's sunny outside, and I think I'll live. Of course, I've got to get out my garden. Of course, I've spoken of my garden before, and try to get that situated before the hot weather even gets here. February, we're already in February. It seemed like a slow, long journey, but it come kind of quick, didn't it? It did. How's everybody feeling out there? Is everybody in the best mood they can be? And they're practicing their affirmations, because if you say them out loud, they'll negate the negative voices that are in your head. And usually, the negative voices that are in your head is somebody that you've heard speak that way before. Like sometimes the voice in my head, I realize, oh, that's my mom's voice telling me such and such. Or that's my brother's voice telling me such and such. And if I say my affirmations, I have to say my affirmations every day. I am worthy. I am positive. I am, even if it starts slow, start with something that is true. I am a housewife. I get my task done daily. I may not get them done on time, but I get them done. I am a mother. I am an honest person. I am, you start small and start with the truth, so that way, when you hear your voice, it negates all that negativity that you've heard before, and it works. But you say your affirmations, say them daily, and make sure. There's a lot of, like, if you look online, maybe in Pinterest. I do Pinterest a lot still. There's still some great ideas coming from that website. Everybody is like, oh, that's so Pinteresty. Yes, because Pinterest is awesome. But if you look at Pinterest and you think about, try to type in things I can control, and they'll have a big circle with things you can control, and inside is what you can control, and outside is what you can't necessarily control. Personally, if you study that, that will help you to realize what you need to focus on and what you don't need to focus on. You can't focus on what somebody says. You can't focus on what somebody thinks. You can't focus on somebody else's attitude. You can only focus on your own in a positive way that can make you not have adversaries and not have an opponent, and not have enemies. Get this done, people. Get this. Even if you draw on a piece of paper, make your list. Things I can control. and things I can't control. And that way, maybe if you write it down by memory, or by your own mind, it will become more clear as to how, you can't control what the outside world does. You can only control what you do. So, in that way, it becomes stronger and more, you get more focused on it. On what I really hope that everybody is feeling more positive lately. The winter months, the dark, dark winter months, are not for positive thinking. But if you made it through this winter, I am proud of you. If you woke up today and thought one positive thought, I am proud of you, because it's a start. It is a start to sometimes a long journey, sometimes a very short journey. Again, I couldn't be here the last couple of days because I was, if you could tell it my voice, I'm still kind of weak and peakish. But I did not feel well. And I felt like if I'm not well, I can't sit here and try to get you to feel better if you can tell on my face that I'm not feeling good myself. So, and I wasn't feeling good. So it's not like I was depressed, but not feeling good can make you sort of feel depressed. So it wasn't like I was in a depressed state or anything. I just was not feeling good. So I hope everybody finds that great big belly laugh. I hope you find somebody to appreciate, because once you give away that type of kindness, you will learn to do it, to turn it back on yourself. You will learn to be nice. Kindness is it's addicting. It is very addicting. Once you give it away, and once you realize you have the power to make someone smile, you're going to want to do it again and again and again. But once you do it to other people, it's going to turn back around and you're going to want to do it to yourself. So be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind, be kind. Everybody is fighting some sort of battle. Robin Williams had said that several times. Be kind. You never know who's fighting what battle. You never know what kind of, you could be in traffic and 20 people around you may be depressed for different reasons. Some people have lost a job. Somebody may be going through a divorce or a childhood custody battle, or somebody may have lost their parent. Just think about the things you're thinking about when you're in traffic. What are these other people? Somebody may have just gotten fired, and lost their job and lost their income. So be kind to everybody you meet. For somebody's fighting a battle somewhere, I promise you. And if we keep that in our minds, and we have no choice but to be kind. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes, especially when you're mad and when you're aggravated and things aren't going your way, you lash out at other people. Make sure that you lash out for people for the right reasons. Don't make enemies out of people that you don't need to be enemies with, coworkers and things. I've lashed out at coworkers before. Not a very good feeling after a while. I'm thinking, oh, they're not the reason I'm mad, but I lashed out at them anyway. Little younger girls that I used to work with, I lashed out at them a couple of times. Didn't mean to. I'm sorry, guys. Again, we're in the month of February. We're on day 32. We're on passions and emotions. We did clarity last month, and I'll try to make up those days again. Please do like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Leave me comments. I think the comments are for me. Also, I have Cassie's without an apostrophe, Cassie's _corner at outlook.com. And if you look at facebook.com, Bows of Happiness, that is me. That is also Cassie's Corner. Throwing out some positive thoughts on a daily grind, trying to make everybody feel happy and positive about certain things. Every once in a while, I give my own personal thought, but most of the time, I'm just throwing out positive things to think about. And I'm there, and you can add me and leave me messages there. That way, everything, if you're doing it in a confidential way where you don't want someone in your family maybe to realize you're talking about them, or that kind of thing, that personalized, that private way of contacting me is there. And I appreciate all the comments. I haven't had any comments lately, and I haven't had any new subscribers, but I'm excited to keep going as my strength gets up. So, with all that being said, find somebody you appreciate, say it out loud. Do your affirmations, say them out loud, but watch who's around because somebody might think you're crazy. But affirmations do work, but you've got to believe in them and you've got to say them out loud. Again, start slow. Start with baby steps. Start with the truth so that way you understand what you're saying to yourself and kind of get that negative thinking out of your brain. It will work, I promise. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to stay sad all your life. It does change. It takes a while, but it will change, and that is in reconditioning your brain to think the best about yourself and about others around you. I promise it does work. So, with all that being said, I will promise to get to you at a later date, and I will see you later. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.